Cortez. Interesting news here. She made this phone call, had this phone call with the UK Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn. Corbyn says the call gave him a firsthand look into how she's challenging the status quo. Liz Peek penned a piece on FoxNews.com, and I know you had something to say about this. In that piece, she titles it Ocasio-Cortez warns about anti-rich rhetoric. It's proof they don't support the American dream. In that piece, she writes, quote, the argument from AOC and Warren is that the rich don't pay their fair share, leading to towering income inequality. The tax data do not support that conclusion.
Well, the irony is that the places in this country, whether it's a state or cities that have the highest taxes and most regulations, have the widest income inequality gaps, right? They have the worst Gini coefficient ratings out there. So if you want to talk about data, the data would actually support the notion that when you put in too many taxes, you actually hurt the poor more than the rich. But I will say I think there's an element to this, and that was sort of alluded there. Just moments ago, AOC put out a tweet to Dan Crenshaw saying the average NFL salary player is making $2.1 million, and they would never experience a 70% tax rate. But it's the owners who refuse to hire Kaepernick. They would. There's also another element to this, and it doesn't get said in public, but there's the racial element to this. And where a lot of people are saying, yeah, even Howard Schultz has an amazing story, but could a black kid from the projects have followed in his footsteps and gotten the breaks that he got in this sort of country? So they don't talk about it on the surface, but when you start to bring the social justice stuff in there, like this line, the owners who refuse to hire Kaepernick would, though. And that's where the Democratic Party itself is starting to implode. We saw the events over the weekend. They're having some real serious issues, with politics based on race, coupled with these ideas that somehow you can use taxes, not as an economic tool. Really, to be honest with you, what they're really trying to use tax policy as a social justice tool to rewrite the wrongs of yesteryear. It's a punitive action. It's not a pro-economic action.
Carol Markowitz writes a piece in FoxNews.com, and I want to read you the headline. Ocasio-Cortez and Warren have decided, other 2020 Dems have decided, wealth is just evil, and your money belongs to them. And goes on to write, Ocasio-Cortez, watch out, America. Democrats, class warfare is back with a vengeance. Your money belongs to them to redistribute as they see fit. When did it become a crime to get rich in America?
Well, this is, I wouldn't say it's back. I like the part with the vengeance. It never went away from the Democratic platform. President Obama ran on this sort of a platform, but this is put on steroids, let's face it. And, it's unfortunate because someone's going to offer Alexandria Ocasio $5 million, $10 million in the next year to write a book. And she's going to say, okay. Right? Someone offered President Obama $45 million to write a book. He said, I'll take the money. So, it's so interesting when they have these opportunities. Elizabeth Warren ain't poor. Bernie Sanders with 3 houses ain't poor. Right? So some of the people who've railed against this the most have actually benefited the most from a capitalistic society.
Well, to bring this back to that phone call with the UK Labour leader that Ocasio-Cortez had with him, he came off that call and said, let's build a movement across borders to take on the billionaires, polluters, and migrant baiters and support a happier, freer, and cleaner planet.
There is a movement across borders right now. It's an anti-establishment, anti-elitist movement. And it's been very successful. They just elected someone in Brazil. They elected someone in America. They elected in Italy. They just had Brexit. There is a movement. He would like to hijack that movement, but that movement is not for illegal immigration. That movement is not for high taxes for the sake of high taxes. That movement is not, to sort of beat people up in the name of social justice. That movement is about removing the elites who have shackled all people of all colors, and only a handful of elites on all sides of the elites, whether in this country a Democrat or Republican, have benefited mightily while the masses haven't. Well, guess what? That is beginning to change.
Might as well finish with the big board. What's the market doing today?
A little flattish today.
What happened? What's going on? Starting out a
little anticlimactic right now. We had a great week. We've had a great year. We had an amazing jobs report. And I do want to bring up, I think it was the 4th month in a row where non-supervisory workers' wages grew faster than their supervisors. So the organic movement that you want, regular folks making more money, is already happening in this country.
Expect the State of the Union tomorrow night. President's probably going to make that case.
He should.
You don't think it's traders calling out sick because it was the Super Bowl?
It is light volume. There's no doubt about it.